Yo, what up? It's Karl, aka Karl Drum Tech. I'm here right now at Los Araboles Park here in Torrance. I don't even know if that's the name of the park, but it is more commonly known as Rocket Ship Park here in Torrance, and this is my first time being here ever, and I gotta say, what was I thinking? I mean, like, this is like literally in my backyard, and I had no idea that this place existed. I probably heard about this because of my former students who talked about Rocket Ship Park and this cool place, and it is really a sight to see. I mean, you know, it's a nice little park here. You have a rocket ship, which is basically a little slide that kids like to go on and play on. And there's a lot of talk about, you know, tearing it down because I think it's been here since 1950. And, you know, obviously for something that's been here that long, I mean, you know, it might potentially be not safe. And I know the city was talking about taking that down, but nevertheless, it is still here, and people can still come here to this park and enjoy this amazing views that are here before you, behind me actually. You know, you can see down over here, down this way, you can see downtown Los Angeles, and over here to my right, you can see a nice view of the shore, which is Redondo Beach, you know, Manhattan Beach area. So this is a really cool place, and if you are in town, or if you're ever in town, make sure this is one of the places you go check out and see. If you'll notice, I'm also repping some swag from Lucid Designs. It is a custom shirt that is designed just for me, and as far as like what it's about, you know, it's basically about drumming and what I'm about with Karl Drum Tech and what I'm trying to do. So there's a lot, you know, like themes sprinkled in here. So so go check them out if you also want a custom shirt like mine that represents what you're all about. But what I want to talk about today is the topic of breaking in the line. You're drumming, you know, you're playing some stuff, and then you just stop playing. That's what we call breaking. I mean, you know, if you're in the line and you're playing something and you just stop playing completely, you broke. All right. If your neighbor's, you know, playing something and then everybody's supposed to be playing the same part, and this one person stops playing, that person broke. And as an instructor, if I'm seeing my drum line and they're playing something and they're playing eights, and one person just stops playing, that person breaks. I mean, it's just like you want to cut and you're like, yo, what is going on with you? Why are you breaking? It is one of the worst things that an instructor has to deal with, is like to figure out why this student is breaking. So basically what I wanted to talk about is, you know, why you break and what you can do to kind of stop yourself from doing that. So I think the first thing you want to ask yourself, if you are somebody who breaks a lot, is that, do you know the material? Do you know the music well enough? I mean, somebody had asked me, you know, which is the inspiration for this video, is that, you know, somebody asked me, you know, hey, you know, what can you do about breaking? Like, you know, I'm going to auditions and I get nervous. So when I'm nervous, I tend to break and stop playing, things like that. So I haven't answered yet, and this is my response. Basically, I responded as a question. It's like, you know, how well do you know the material? How well do you know the music? Because if you know it really well, it should be almost impossible for you to break. Now, that being said, this does happen. Breaking does happen all the time. I've been a victim to it, and I've heard of situations where people, even in the highest level groups, there's people who break there as well. I mean, even in my experience, I remember my last warm-up with Impulse. You know, this is my age out year. This is at finals in Colorado. Well, finals for us because it's our last show. But you know, Drums Along the Rockies, it was my last warm-up lot, and you know, we've been playing the music all season long, and then for whatever reason, I just broke on a certain bar. I had no idea why it was happening. I'm just sitting here in a panic mode. It was embarrassing, and it's kind of disappointing, right? Because this is my last warm-up lot ever as a member, and it was super disappointing, and even more embarrassing in that there was another drum line watching us. Actually, it was the Troopers. You know, we kind of had beef with that line, and you know, they kind of just watched us like, you know, kind of like, you know, like this, and, and try to just being like, yo, what's up? And I'm here I am breaking, and it's really embarrassing actually. But you know, and I was even asking like the guys playing next to me, like, hey, what's that part? Can you run it by, you know, can you play it real quick so I can figure it out? And then, you know, fortunately enough, of course, you know, yeah, check it out, it's this. But you know, it was so embarrassing, and I'm just gonna have to sit there and admit that I didn't know that part of the music that well. Yes, I've been playing it all season long, you know, and it's just like, I do know the music for the most part, but maybe, you know, that was just one bar that I didn't practice enough throughout the whole season. You want to make sure that you're practicing every single part of the music all season long, and I probably just did not practice that particular bar often enough. And I'm gonna have to sit here and admit to you that, yeah, I didn't know that part that well, and that's why I broke, okay? So, again, this happens even in the highest levels. I mean, if you guys saw the interview I did with Spencer, who marched RCC and Pulse, even on those highest levels, we talked about off camera how, yeah, people broke even in those lines as well. So it certainly does happen. But I'm just gonna have to say, and I'm just gonna have to argue that if you are the type of person who breaks a lot, I'm just gonna have to say, yo, you're gonna have to admit it and check yourself and make sure, like, do you know the music well enough? And if you don't, you need to make sure you put in the requisite time to make sure that you get to a point where it's almost impossible for you to stop playing because you just have this brain freeze of like not knowing the part in that moment. With one of the guys I used to teach with, Pete Sapadin, okay? So he would tell his students, like, you gotta practice a part so much. You gotta put in so much time. You gotta put in so many hours that if you play something 10 times in a row, you will not break and you will not mess up playing that part. Now, you gotta think about this, right? If you can play something 10 times in a row and not mess up and not break, imagine how many hours, how many days, and how much effort it takes for you to get to that level of proficiency and knowledge and knowing the parts so well that 10 times in a row you play it and it's gonna be good. I mean, that's the thing. Not a lot of people are willing to put in that kind of time, that kind of effort. Maybe people don't even have the time. Like they're too busy, they have things that they need to do, and they just can't focus on putting that amount of time. And if you sit there and you don't have enough time, you don't put in the effort, and you don't put in the requisite hours to get to that level. If you sit there and you play something and you break, you can't just be like, well, what the heck is going on? Again, you have to check yourself. You have to be real with yourself and say, hey, maybe I don't know that part well enough. So if that happens, you gotta make sure that you put in the time to get that part down. Otherwise, you are at risk of breaking in a drumline situation. Maybe you're in the lot, maybe you have a big crowd and you just break. Well, you don't want to break, right? You want to make sure that you are playing consistently throughout with the rest of the line and not break in a situation where it's just like it looks bad, right, on you and your drumline. So make sure that you know the part well enough. Now, again, of course, there is that rare situation where you really do know that part and you just have a situation where you kind of just lose focus and lose concentration. So if you watch my last video about meditation and focus, if you watch all the drum lines, I mean, every single drum line you see, especially the best ones, you're gonna see people in a zone where they're just completely focused and nothing around them is affecting them. That is the ultimate state of focus. It is a zone that you get in that you cannot snap out of because you're just so focused on playing the music, playing clean with everybody else, and being aware of what's going on around you musically with your group. Not with anything that's going on in front of you, behind you, thinking about lunch, thinking about there's none of that going on. It's just complete and utter immersive focus. So if you are in that state, it should almost be impossible for you to break. So it's possible, like when you're drumming, you're playing something, and then you see somebody walking by, and you're like, oh, look at that guy. And then all of a sudden, you lose focus, and then you might break. Yes, that is a case where that might happen, even if you know the music very well. So in that case, I would just have to say, maintain your focus, practice your focus. In my last video, I talked about meditation and as a way to help you train your focus. So that's one of the things that I would recommend. It's kind of a crazy idea, meditation and stuff like that. But if you want to check it out, go try it and see if it helps you. Again, it's just a training method for having better focus in life in whatever it is that you are trying to do in excellence. So again, to recap, that's basically what I would say to you if you are the type of person who does break a lot. Just again, check yourself. Make sure that you really do know the part, and if you don't, you got to put in the requisite time and energy into making sure that you know the music very well. And if you do know the music very well, you can sit there and hey, Karl, I really know the music. I really put in the time, and I'm still breaking. What do I do? Then I'm gonna tell you, okay, then it is just a lack of focus, and you need to work on that part of your drumming game. So that's all I want to talk about today. Thank you so much if you've been watching. Hopefully this helps you, even if you're the type of person who doesn't break. Again, the lesson that you take from it is massive amounts of focus that you need to have when you're playing in the drum line. And if you feel like there's somebody in your line that breaks all the time or could use and can help and be benefited from this video, make sure you share this with them as well. And as always, please do like the video if you guys like it. Please share it, like I said, if you think that somebody else could benefit from it. And as always, I really appreciate you guys watching and checking the stuff out. You know, I see the numbers, I see the views, and it's just, I'm so flattered and so humbled by all the people who are checking my stuff out, and I really, really do appreciate it. I mean, your attention is my oxygen. This is how I'm able to keep going. So I want to thank you guys. You know, I don't take it very lightly as far as, you know, your participation and your engagement. I really do appreciate it. So that being said, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and until next time, take care.